on.
Oh, I get a little notification that you're recording me.
Oh,
Oh, that's fancy. It's like somebody thought this out.
yeah, yeah. Seems to be pretty good and pretty popular as well.
And I heard like one of the first things when this, COVID thing started making the rounds was like, and the stock market was crashing. Somebody said, and the only, stock that's not crashing is Zoom. They're actually going up. Everybody else is going down.
Yeah. Makes sense. So let me officially open this thing. Welcome to the Stay the Fuck at Home podcast because we're both staying at home. So. Well, yeah, Janne, welcome.
Thank you,
Uh,
sir.
and yeah, what I always ask is introduce yourself. Who are you? Where are you from? What's going on?
Yeah, all right. So my name is Janne. I'm originally from Finland. Now I've been living in Prague for, I think, 6 years maybe. I like to hang out in karaoke bars and open mics and all that jazz. So that's how I know David. Uh, by day, I'm a software developer, and by night, I'm a metal god. So that's what I do.
I think that's a pretty accurate description. I mean, as far as I know you, that seems like the thing. So, why did you move to Prague and not like Paris or New York or San Francisco or something?
Well, I was finishing up my degree in Finland, and I had a friend who was living in Prague, and he basically needed a drinking buddy. So he started talking to me like, "So hey man, now that you're graduating, what are you gonna do next?" I said, "Well, I don't know." And he's like, "Why don't you move to Prague?" I was like, "Well, I don't know. Why wouldn't I?" So I realized that once I graduate, I'm gonna have to move out of the student housing foundation apartment that I had. So I was gonna have to move anyway, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
well, as long as I'm moving, I may as well move to Prague. What the hell? Let's do it. Uh, and my boss, when I started working for that company that I was working for back then, asked me, like, do you want to work in the office or do you want to work from home? We're fine with either one. So I just told my boss, like, hey, by the way, I'm moving to Prague. I was like, oh, cool. Are you still going to be working for us? I said, yeah. He's like, all right, no problems. So that's how I ended up here. My friend moved on. He's now basically, well, he was probably not anymore, but he was like traveling full time for a couple of years. And I
Probably
worked,
not right now. No.
yeah, we're probably right now. And I work for a different company now. But that's how I got how I landed in Prague, and I started family here, and I got a couple of band projects going on and all that cool stuff. So I'm as far as I'm concerned, I'm here to stay now.
Good. Yeah, I've been here almost 5 years. Like next month will be 5 years.
Yeah.
And it was just random. Like I applied for a job, they hired me. Like, I guess I'm gonna go then. So I just packed a bag,
Yeah.
took a one-way ticket.
Yeah, it's weird how many jobs they have people who can speak Dutch. You
Yeah,
know,
I don't speak Dutch at my job anymore. Like,
oh, okay, because I know because um my old lady, she studied in Holland, so she speaks Dutch, and she gets hit up with job offers all the time because for some reason the Dutch people do a lot of business in Prague, and they need somebody who's able to efficiently communicate with them. So she gets job offers just because of that all the time.
yeah, it's pretty weird. It's like Prague is like such a melting pot of different cultures all thrown into
Yeah.
one place. It's like,
Yeah, it's when you're in the dead center of Europe, basically, that's what's going to happen, and it's kind of interestingly, in the like the crossing point between north and south and east and west. It's so yeah, that's what happens. Also,
Yeah,
the downside historically is that there's going to be a lot of armies walking through your country if you're in the dead center, and the
yeah,
big guys on your both sides are fighting each other. So you're going to get trampled by a lot of armies during the centuries.
yeah. They get their fair share of conflict. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
because
not like South Coast. Just oh, you guys are in the way, so fuck you.
yeah, because Finland is up north and nobody cares. There's nothing there. There's literally there's trees and lakes, and they were not in high demand historically, fortunately, and you can't really go through Finland to get anywhere interesting. So we were pretty much left alone until the you know Second World War.
Mm-hmm. But it looks nice though, Finland. Yeah, really.
The lakes are nice. That's what I miss here. In Finland in the summer when it gets hot, you can just spend the day in the lake. And if you go to my parents' place, you can go like 1 kilometer in any direction and you will find a lake. It doesn't matter which way you go, there's a lake.
That's pretty nice.
Here, I know there's a lake somewhere here around Prague. Somebody took me there once in the winter. It was empty, but they said like, if you come here on a hot summer day, first of all, you have to pay to get there, which sounds absurd to somebody from Finland. Like, what, you pay money to go to what? What are you talking about?
Yeah, the
And the
lake was
second
there
thing is like,
already. Yeah.
yeah, and they say like, and you're gonna be queuing in your car to get through the gate, for hours here. So that's the second thing. And it's gonna be super crowded. I was like, that doesn't sound like fun. I don't think I want to do that.
No, no.
I'll just stay in my air conditioned office.
I once went to a small lake outside of Prague because my girlfriend is from Prague. So we just hopped in the car with a kid, just drove there. It was not so busy. There were people. There was a nice little bar and a grill, and I had some beach volleyball going on. It was kind of nice.
Oh, all right. That doesn't sound too bad.
No, not too shabby, but I think if you go to like, it's probably the lake at Divoka Sharka, I think. I heard it's always crazy busy when the weather is nice.
Yeah, yeah.
That's also a Czech thing. As soon as there's one sun ray coming through the weekend clouds, they all just, yeah, short pants, socks and sandals. Where we're going for a hike, take the bike out. I'm like, dude, it's 3 degrees. Like, yeah, sun is out.
Yeah, that
Okay.
was one of the things I noticed when I moved here was that there's a bunch of clowns walking around here in shorts all year round. Like, it doesn't matter if
Yes.
it's snowing, you always have a couple of idiots walking around, you see them on the tram or whatever in shorts.
Yeah.
And those people don't exist in Finland. Like, they've been removed from the gene pool.
Yeah, that's what natural selection gets you.
Yeah, that's how you lose toes.
Mm-hmm. Well, Finland is quite a bit colder than it is here, I suppose.
Yeah, but still, if it's 10 degrees in Finland, nobody's walking around in shorts. Like, we're
It
not
makes no
stupid.
sense to me either. It's like, I have like two pair of shorts, I think. One of them is from Metal Camp, which is now called Metal Days. It's a metal festival in Tommy. And basically, I had to buy them because there was a shitstorm flying over, and I got completely soaked.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any spare pants at the time, so I went to the merchandise stand and said, "Yeah, I'll buy that one." It's like, what size? Like the smallest one you have. It was supposed to be shorts like here, and for me, it was still out
Yeah.
there. It's like, that will do. That will do for today.
Have you ever been to Masters of Rock in Vizovice?
No, I saw the posters, of course, but
Yeah, yeah.
never
It's a
went
huge
there.
one. They always had like really big headliners. So I went there one year, me and my friend, and we arrive and we're like, okay, so where's the campsite? We're doing the tent thing, and they're like, oh, it's up there on the hill. I look like, okay, and it's like this quite steep slope up the hill, quite a long hike. I'm 30 meters, up the steep hill,
Mm.
grass. And I'm like, you know, if it's gonna rain, this is gonna be a fucking mudslide. Like
Yeah, that's no fun.
there's nothing there to stop you from sliding all the way down. And sure enough, like 3 hours later, it started raining, and it was pretty much pissing rain for the rest of the weekend. And then you could just watch these people who spend 10 minutes almost getting all the way to the top and then sliding all the way down. you know in the morning when you woke up, there were just people sleeping there at the bottom of the hill because they just got too tired trying to climb up and get to their tent, and just fucking gave up and slept down there.
Yeah, but that's also a good thing. Yeah. That's just funny. It's like, I've seen things at festivals. I'm like, yeah, okay, I understand, but in a normal week, people would like pick you off the street and arrest you. But because it's on a festival side, like, yeah, whatever. It's like,
It'll be fine. He'll just needs to sleep it off.
yeah, I had one of my friends. We were at a festival in the Netherlands, and she opens her tent, and there's like a dude sleeping there. So he's like, okay, like, let him sleep. I will sleep with my friend in the tent, Like next morning, she opens up the tent. It's like, dude, get the fuck out of my tent. And he's like, oh yeah, it's exactly the same color, and I don't know what it was. He just found a random tent that looked like his tent and just went in and just went to sleep.
To be fair, that's a easy mistake to make.
Yeah.
If you got like, I don't know, 500 tents and you're drunk and tired, maybe it's a little bit dark, and you find the tent that looks like yours. And if you're drunk enough, uh, you know, I'm just saying,
It happens.
I could definitely see that happening to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I
When I was a little
I
bit,
went to Rock for People for the last 4 years,
oh, all
and
right, how's
I
that?
got it at Skralover. Yeah, it's nice. So I have a pretty good lineup. This year is absolutely badass, but I don't think it's gonna go through because it's in June.
Yeah, it
So
kind of bums me out when I'm on Facebook and I see all these ads for all these kinds of events that are supposed to be coming up, and I'm just I
yeah,
don't think so. Yeah,
no, exactly.
there's a lot of people going to be out of business. Promoters, service
Mhm.
industry people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's gonna have an
I'm
impact
just
for sure. Jesus.
yeah. I'm just wondering how as a society Czech people are going to deal with that, because if basically all the small businesses are out of business for a couple of months now,
Mhm.
how do you do that? Is it just everybody just files for bankruptcy and start over? Is that how it works? Like,
I
how are you going to do
don't
that?
know. No, I have no idea.
Because some places already said like, okay, like mortgage payments and stuff
Mhm.
are like on hiatus now. You don't have to pay your mortgage for the next couple of months until we get through this.
Which is very, very, it's a very good thing, or like the lower interest rates and things like that. So, yeah, but they don't have a choice because otherwise your country falls over, it just collapses.
Yeah, basically, otherwise all small businesses need to take a mulligan, clean slate, start over. Yeah, it's a lot of bureaucracy. I guess you could do that, but I don't know, like, because it ripples through, and I'm not a economist to know where it ends. But
Me
it
neither.
just feels bad in thinking about all the people who are out of work at the moment.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of people. Yeah, okay, that's better. Yes, okay. Yeah, you probably think I'm not looking at you, but my screen is there, but my camera is there.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just a different
I
camera.
know the deal. Yeah, yeah.
Because I tried it with the webcam on my laptop. I don't know what Asus put in there, but it looks like they put a potato as a webcam. It looks absolutely
Yeah,
horrible.
yeah.
Like the contrast is crazy because I believe I can switch it.
Famous last words.
Like, did it do
And that's how
something?
we lost David's video.
Ah, there we go. This is
Oh, there
horrible,
you are.
huh?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty grainy. Yeah.
It's grainy as hell. Like for me now, it looks fine because it's in a small screen, but
Yeah,
damn.
for me, it's blown up all across the screen. It's pretty terrible. Yeah. Hey, how's my video? I got a brand new laptop, so I have no
Yeah, it's
idea
pretty
how
good.
good the webcam on this is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
All right,
bad.
that's good to know.
And
Yeah.
it's not like ultra 4K stuff.
No.
But yeah, now it kind of smoothens out everything, you know.
Yeah.
Seeing yourself in ultra high definition and you see every detail, you're like, no, that's too much detail, you know.
Yeah, that's what they keep saying. Like how high def do you want to go before it starts losing the magic?
Hmm.
It's like if film directors say it's that you can't shoot a movie at higher than what's 24 frames per second, which is what people are used to because they associate that frame rate with the magic of movies. And
Mhm.
if you shoot at a different frame rate, it looks fake or it looks cheap or it doesn't it doesn't look right.
Yeah, exactly. But like for movie, that's different than like a DVD. Then your frame rate changes. So the US uses a different frame rate on TV as the EU does.
Yeah,
That has to
sure.
do with the frequency of the electricity network.
Oh my god, that's that whole thing. And craziest thing is Japan, which is divided in the middle, and one side uses 50 hertz and the other side uses 60 hertz. So how is that
That's weird.
for yeah, and the reason is that when like the electrification of Japan began, like it was like the British started building it from one end of the island and the Americans started building it from the other end, and then they met in the middle and they were like, well, shit, what do we do now? So they just have a bunch of like converter stations in the middle.
But is it also AC DC like difference? Don't think so. No? That
Well,
would be weird.
yeah, sure, but yeah. So it's, as far as I know, it's like 240 volts, but one side of the island is on 60 hertz and the other one is on 50. And any appliance you buy in Japan has a little switch in the back where you can switch it between 60 and 50 hertz depending on where you are.
Yeah, I remember I had a friend once that had his computer and he checked the power supply and he's like, what does this switch do? And he flicked it and he switched
Oi,
it
oi,
to
oi.
110 volts. And I was like, oh, it's like, oh, uh, what did I do? It's like, yeah, that's the button. You shouldn't touch me.
Yeah, I had a
Because
friend.
it blows up. And it's,
I had a
if
friend who
electronics
came
blow
over.
up, it smells so bad.
Oh yeah, the smell of electricity when it leaves the appliance is pretty bad. I had a friend who came over, and we had this boom box that we bought from the United States. And when we got back to Finland, first we got like this power converter, but the
Mm-hmm.
power converter was still in the using the US socket. So then we used like a socket adapter separately to change it to the European style socket.
Mm-hmm.
My friend comes over, tries to switch on the boombox. It's like, it's not working. Looks at the power cable. I was like, okay. Plugs it in, plugs it out, still doesn't work. Then he removes the power converter, puts the socket converter directly to the cable, plugs it in, poof, you
Yeah.
know. And I'm looking at him like, dude, what are you doing? Like, and this is a pretty smart guy. Like
Mm-hmm.
this guy now, his day job is designing fucking rockets for the European Space Agency. Like he has a PhD in space engineering. He's not a stupid guy. Like
Yeah, but I think it's something at the moment you just don't think about it. Like, it doesn't
yeah,
fit.
it's
This fits. Okay, it should be fine.
yeah,
And you don't
yeah,
think
like a
about the
total
difference, you know?
like brain fart as they call
Yeah,
it.
exactly. But yeah, one of your biggest things is music, I assume.
Yeah, that's what I do. I've been trying to when I moved here in Prague, it took a while, you know, to meet people, get some connections, and get some traction with the music stuff. I've had to move several times in my life, and I find it usually takes me, you know, 4 to 5 years to get connected with the local scene, to you know, get some things going. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, so now I have a band here called Oksagon, and we played a couple of shows. We were supposed to play more, but you know, it is what
Doesn't
it
really
is
work.
at the
Yeah.
moment. Yeah, and I've been just, you know, I personally decided to take things to the next level. So I actually started really working on it, like really practicing several times a week, actually going to the gym and doing some fucking cardio, so I don't run out of energy in the middle of the set, and
That's
all
a
this, you
thing.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, all this like non-glamorous stuff that I realized that you have to do if you want to compete with the best in the business. That's what they do. And if you want to be above like the local bands, you have to do the things that they're not willing to do, and that's what is going to set you apart from the other people. You have to do the thing that nobody else will do. So I started this crazy regimen about a year ago. I started ramping it up. And I'm kind of pissed off now because, you know, I'm stuck at home and I
Mm-hmm.
can't really do my singing exercises here because, you know, the neighbors will murder me if I start doing that here.
Well,
Like,
yeah. People who have never heard you sing, he's pretty loud. Like,
yeah, but also, you know, my singing drills are completely insane. Like they're not a fun thing to listen to. Like if I'm singing songs that if you like the kind of music I do, you know, that might be enjoyable for somebody for a while, but my singing drills are not enjoyable for anybody. Like if I'm singing up and down scales,
mm-hmm.
that gets old really quick. So now I'm stuck at home. I'm like kind of bummed out that, you know, I can't do that. So what I'm doing now is I'm looking more into like uh, production stuff, mixing, producing, that kind of shit. So I signed up for some online courses that I've been going through. I'm doing some practice mixes here. So next time we're recording some stuff, hopefully will be like better quality and all that.
It's good. It's because I've been doing that for a long time. Uh, it's good fun, but it's good when you get to the point where you hear your quality of mix and production improve, and you can see that it's going somewhere.
Yeah,
That like
yeah,
when
exactly.
you finally make the mix it and you listen back to it, you're like, oh shit, yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. And it's funny how it goes. Like you can be really happy with a mix for a moment, and then 10 minutes later you haven't really done anything, but you're like, oh my god, this is garbage. Everything
Yeah,
sounds off.
yeah, yeah.
uh,
That's why you should take breaks, like
yeah,
every 10 minutes or so,
yeah,
and like come back to it with clear ears and be like, ah, okay,
yeah. That's one of the things I haven't learned yet, to take breaks. I just keep I can't, like, if I'm mixing a song, I cannot let it go. Like I will not eat, I will not walk the dog, I will not go to the bathroom. I'm like glued to the screen because there's always something that's bothering me and I want to fix it now. I don't want to
mm-hmm.
fix it later. I want to fix it now. Yeah, I got to learn that thing. Maybe I should like set like an egg timer or something, you know, and I will mix
Yeah,
for, I
yeah.
don't know,
But
40 minutes or 45 minutes, and then I take a 15-minute break and, you know, just
yeah,
remove
whatever
myself from the
works.
screen.
But it's good
Yeah.
to take a break.
Yeah.
It really makes a difference.
Yeah.
And you have to know when you're done. Like you can keep trying to perfect everything, but in my opinion, that's the problem with music nowadays. It's all too squeaky clean, too time aligned. Like, let the people hear there as musicians playing it. Like,
Yeah.
otherwise, you could have just bought like a drum machine and fire a drummer and save some money in the process.
I mean, it's exactly the same thing. Like there's no difference sonically to a drum machine if you beat detect it and then sample replace it.
Yeah,
None of your drummers playing is there anymore.
no,
Not the groove or not the actual sound of the the drummer hitting the drum. So I mean, it's all being removed.
Yeah, and that's why every like music that comes out sounds almost identical because I mean you could do sample replacement. There's something to say for that. I mean Andy Wallace, a famous mixer, used to do that on the albums in the 90s and early 2000s all the time. That's
Yeah,
why if you listen to Linkin Park or Red Hot Chili Peppers, Limp Bizkit from that time period, you hear the same drums on all those albums. Like
yeah, it's
Nevermind
exactly the
Nirvana is
same
also one of them.
snare.
It's the same kick and the same snare
Yeah,
because he sample replaced it, but he still kept it quite to the groove of the drum. But the problem now is everyone uses these like VSTs or amp modeling sims, like amp modelers, which are great, like Kemper or XFX. But now they're all using the same presets, so now you don't even
yeah,
know which band you're listening to because it's exactly the same sound. Not like
yeah.
it sounds a bit like no, they sound the same because they use the same preset. Like
It's
if you want
it's
to
one
stand
of those.
out, you have to sound different than the rest.
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer in that rock and roll doesn't work if there's not like an element of danger. Like
Mm-hmm.
rock and roll needs to feel a little bit dangerous. If it's too smooth, too perfect, too tidy, it doesn't work. It needs to sound a little bit like it could go off the rails at any moment, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And if everybody sounds the same, if everybody sounds perfectly average, that sense of danger is gone. And it's you know that's the thing. Like nowadays, it's so easy to sound perfectly average.
Mm-hmm.
That's what these modern tools that you can pick up, the slide drum replacement thing, and you can sound exactly like everybody else for very little effort. But
Mm-hmm.
it still means like if you want to be exceptional, you still have to work really hard. It's just that being average is now easier than ever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
But
totally true. But it's
and
also an
it's really
upside
hard
to
to.
all that, you know.
Hmm. It's really hard these days to find a band that like have a sound that that like captures your attention. And I had this thing happen to me. I was listening to one of these Spotify curated lists, new releases for you, whatever, the other day, and a band came up. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like this sounds like crossbreed of, like, let's say, Skid Row and Aerosmith, like Aerosmith from the late '80s and Skid Row
Mm-hmm.
from the early '90s. I was like, oh my god, this is fantastic! It had this raw energy, and the singer was fantastic, like absolutely fantastic. I was blown away. I was waiting to get home from work so I can Google this band and see, if they're playing any shows in Prague or anything, because I was so. And what I did to finally get home, I Googled the band and I find their announcement that they're gonna quit.
Fucking hell, that is a
so
bummer.
so so I discovered them in January. What I found was like the previous June, they made like, okay, we're just gonna play the festivals this summer and then we're gonna quit. It's been fun. I was like, well, how the hell did this song end up in my like new releases, whatever?
Mm-hmm.
So then I look at their Facebook page, and it says like, hey, as like a farewell gift to all our fans, we want to release this one more song that we recorded previously, and here it is, and we love you all. I'm like, ah, fucking hell,
That sucks.
come on, man.
Yeah, you
If you
have
want to
that
look it
song.
up, it's called Dust Bowl Dust Bowl Jokies.
That is a good name, though.
Yeah, it was a Swedish band. I'm sure the guys are gonna be, especially the singer, is gonna go places. You're gonna find him in some other band, because just phenomenal skill there. But I was so bummed out because that was like the first time in I don't know how many years I heard a band, and I was instantly like blown away. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna go home and find all their albums, and how I can't wait. And yeah, we quit.
Yeah, that's fucking hell. Yeah, I have it with an American dude called Grandson, and he's very political, very anti-Trump, has a very unique voice, and he crosses over like electronic with rock. And I haven't seen him live yet because he's pretty underground. Like, but I saw videos of his live shows, and the guy is like an energy bomb, like crazy, like full energy, like charisma, pissed off at the world. Like that's what we miss in music. Nobody's pissed off anymore. You know?
Yeah, it's kind of smooth,
Yeah.
polished.
I don't want to offend anyone. Well, what's the fun in that? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, you know, if you try not to offend anybody. First of all, what happens to comedy? Like, you realize when you go back and you watch some of the like mainstream comedy from the 80s, and you realize that this movie could not be done today. Like
yeah,
you just couldn't do like something like Airplane, for example. If you
yeah,
go back and look at the jokes that they got away with back then, you're like, no, this is still funny because it's in the context, you know, of that time. I'm, you know, old enough to remember what it was back then. But I'm like, also this movie, you couldn't make this movie today. People would be so up in arms, you know, protesting all over the place that, you know, movies like that cannot be made anymore.
yeah. It's kind of like a shame because intent is what matters when it comes to comedy.
Yeah.
Like you have good jokes. Like good jokes can be really offensive,
Yes,
but can
exactly.
still
Yeah.
be a really good joke. Like,
Yes, and just because you're offended doesn't mean that it shouldn't exist.
no,
Like, if you're offended, don't watch it. It's for other people. It's not for you. Move along. Keep on
yeah.
living your life. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to watch it. But you know,
That's the thing. It's like people demanding, I want this movie of Netflix because I'm a fan of it. It's like it's an on-demand service. It's not like on like cable or anything that you
yeah,
zap through it and you're like, oh no. Well, then you can still press the remote and watch something else. But if it's an on-demand thing, it's like, why are you complaining about it? Nobody's forcing you to watch it. That's what I found so freaking funny about YouTube as well. Like these keyboard warriors that look up music of the people they hate just to post a comment underneath it how much they hate.
yeah,
And
yeah,
like you went
exactly.
through a lot of effort
Yeah,
to do that, and while you're doing it, the music you hate gets one more view.
yeah.
You're actually
But
helping them make
but
money technically. Like,
it's like back in I think in the 90s when Howard Stern first you know, got onto national radio, and they did like these audience surveys, and they found out that the average Howard Stern fan listens for 30 minutes a day, but the people who hate his guts listen to 90 minutes a day.
yes.
And that's when he realized that the more people he pisses off, the more people are going to listen. And that's how he basically became this shock jock kind of, you know, professional troll for a while, because he realized the more people he offends, the more people are going to listen.
Yeah, but he makes a good show as well. Like,
Oh, well, yeah.
because he invites like a lot of interesting people.
Well, what the show is today is completely different than what the show was in the 90s.
Yeah,
Like in the 90s, it was very gonzo. It was very much, you know, he like, give me the rule book and I will break every rule you've made just to get attention, you know. Just
yeah,
he was trying to get into trouble, because he knew that if he got into trouble, he would get more people watching or listening to his show, you know.
yeah,
But
yeah.
he's mellowed out a lot, you know.
Oh, he's older now. You know, he's probably
Yeah,
like in a better place himself.
yeah. He was just trying to, you know. So what are the things we're not allowed to do on radio? Okay, all right. Here's a list. You know, let's arrange all of these. You know.
Yeah, new kind of bucket list. Yeah,
Yeah, but you know, that's the thing. Like, if you piss people off, you get a lot of attention a lot of time. But that means like that feeds the trolls. So if sometimes I come across a YouTube channel and I realized that it's just a person trying to start some shit because they figure if they cause, you know, controversy, they will get more popular. The video gets shared and whatever, and it's a bummer because then on the other hand, there's people making excellent content and just keeping their head down and doing the work who
Hmm.
don't get the attention because they're not pissing people off. They're
Yeah,
just making good quality content. So it's kind of unfair that being an asshole might get you, might get you there quicker than just being a nice guy.
yeah. But that's yeah, it's the all the outrage culture. You know? It's like everybody wants to be outraged about something,
Yeah.
and no, I don't get it. Like if I see something I don't like, I just click next. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my friend's band made a music video recently, and I went on YouTube to watch it, and it had like it didn't have many views because I found it on their Facebook feed pretty quickly after they released it, and it had like I don't know 30 views and like 3 thumbs down and 0 thumbs up. I'm like, who the hell are these people who go to see a video from a local band and then press thumbs down?
That's just weird.
I just pissed me off, and you know, I, this reminds me, you know, this was many years ago, but there was a video of this guy who didn't have any arms. He was playing the banjo with his toes, right?
I've seen it again. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and he was fucking rocking. He was on fire, like absolutely fantastic. Like he could play the banjo better with his feet than I can play with my fingers. Like
Hmm.
he was absolutely rocking, and that video still had like 3 thumbs down. I'm like, who the hell goes and sees this video and puts thumbs down? Like you could put up a video of firemen like rescuing orphans and kittens from a burning building, and there would still be 3 assholes putting thumbs down on the video, right?
Yes, definitely. Those are probably psychos, you know. They probably find out who pressed thumbs down on that just to track them down. You know? I mean, the YouTube is owned by Google, so maybe that's exactly what's happening.
I remember, you know, it was many years ago, but you know, the comment section on YouTube used to be like the worst place in the world. Like it was absolute dumpster fire. They've cleaned it up a lot since then, but like it used to be the worst people in the world. I don't know if you remember this, but I don't know, maybe 7, 8 years ago, if you scroll down, if you saw a video and you scroll down, you immediately regretted doing that.
Yeah, some people have some serious issues, and
They,
and it's
and
basically the like the anonymity people think they have behind a keyboard. You know, it's like, oh, they don't know who I am. I think,
yeah, and these days I feel like I don't know why news articles have a comment section, by the way, because that's the same thing. It's always the worst people commenting on the news article. I've never seen anything insightful in there.
no,
it's
neither of
it's
them.
always either something completely stupid or completely obvious. The
Yeah,
top comment, there's no value, there's zero value. I'm not interested in the average internet commenter's take on this news article.
no, because usually they don't know what they're talking about,
Yes, exactly.
or they're racist. They spin the article to be yeah, it's the immigration, it's the
Yes,
immigrants.
yes, that's the thing.
And I was like, I thought I was reading like a recipe how to make like eggs Benedict, but apparently it's immigration that caused this problem.
Yeah,
And I was like, it doesn't even have to be connected to the article itself. It's just
a lot of
someone was
time
like,
is it's not.
yeah.
No.
It can also be
it,
pretty amusing sometimes. Like the YouTube trap where you turn out to Illuminati videos and stuff. If you just keep clicking, it doesn't take much clicks to get to weird conspiracy theories behind like music videos or shit like that. And I think that's so good. Like,
yeah.
because usually it's pretty well produced content. Like someone really put time
Yes.
and like dissecting the video, and pointing things out, and yeah, doing good voiceover. And I'm like, you probably spent 4 hours making this 30-minute video, right?
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it's 30
exactly.
minutes of complete bullshit.
But this whole flat Earth thing that's going on YouTube, it's
That's
just
also good. Uh,
boggles the mind, right? And like,
yeah,
how does that work? And did you see the documentary on Netflix? I think it's called like Behind the Curve, or
yeah, I did.
it's so
That was
beautiful.
time well spent. Oh my god, that was
Uh,
good.
and there's this one moment when it's the lady in the car saying like, oh, and there's this conspiracy theory that I'm actually a CIA agent, like infiltrating the flat Earth movement. But it's so frustrating because there's no way for me to prove that conspiracy theory wrong, because whatever I say, they're not listening. Like there's no amount of proof that could change their mind once they've, bought into this conspiracy theory. And it's very frustrating. Without like a slightest hint of self-awareness, she's going on about how frustrating it is to
Yeah,
talk to people who believe in conspiracy theories while she's peddling conspiracy theories.
yeah.
Like,
But yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, if you're a CIA agent, you're not gonna admit you are one. And if you do, you probably say it to get them off your back to find out you're an actual CIA agent.
that's exactly what a CIA agent would say, you know.
Yes, it's so good. Yeah,
and there and there's no hint of irony. She's being so sincere about how frustrating it is to deal with people who spread conspiracy theories. Yeah, yeah, isn't it? Huh?
so good. The
And
internet
how
is a
they
wonderful
actually,
place.
in the course of that the documentary, how they end up like proving that the Earth is a sphere in several different ways.
Hmm. And then
and
just
and
ignore the evidence.
and then there's, oh, there's something wrong with this experiment. No, no, there's not. No, it gave exactly the result that you would have expected, but
Yeah,
you're just refusing to take the result.
yeah. But that's the thing. Like critical thinking is not very common, unfortunately.
but but that's the thing, like these people were smart enough to come up with these experiments that were pretty much airtight. Like they were good experiments.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
a lot of thought. Like, if you asked me like, hey, could you prove me that Earth is not flat, I couldn't come up with those experiments that these people came up with. Like they
Hmm.
were really well thought out. It's just when they got the data and they're like, oh, but doesn't like this doesn't confirm what what I want to confirm. It gave the expected result. I don't know what's going on. What do you mean you don't know what's going on? Like when you construct the experiment, you should always know what the possible outcomes are.
Hmm.
Like if the result is this, it means this. If it's this other thing, it means the other thing. Like that going in, right?
Yeah.
But then when you get one of those results, then you go, I don't know what's wrong with this experiment.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong. You already knew that this was a possibility.
And then you just ignore it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
confirmation bias, you know. That's,
yeah. But there was this documentary about the CERN and the particle accelerator. I forget what it's called. It's on Netflix also, and that had a kind of a cliffhanger because they going into the big experiment that they were doing. They had these two possibilities. They said like, if the figure is like, I forget what the exact numbers were, but it was like, if it's 3.5, it means that the universe is like this and this and this, and we can expect to do different experiments to learn more. And if it's like 9, then it means this other thing. And then we have to take a different turn in how we study physics from now on.
mhm.
And when the results came in, it was like smack in the middle. And they were
Yes.
like, well, shit, like we don't even know what this result means.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, the people working there is like working on such a subatomic scale is incomprehensible for a normal human mind to understand. Okay?
Yeah,
because you're
and you
not
know,
they're technically not studying like the subatomic particle, but the manifestations of that particle existing. That's what they're looking at, because you cannot
yes,
physically capture it. You can only see the aftermath of the event, like the collision.
yes, yes,
And I'm
exactly,
like,
yeah.
that people even figured this out, building this like 30-kilometer long loop underground to just accelerate stuff. Like, who comes up with that?
But
And
it's
and actually
basically
make it a useful instrument. You know?
yeah, but it's basically the same thing when you go to like the super big scale and you study galaxies, and they're so far away that you can't see them, you can't detect them, but you can see their influence on the stuff around them
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the times. Again, you're not able to directly see the thing you're trying to see. You just see how it interacts with the surroundings, and then you can see maybe something, you know, fly past, and you can see the light bending around the thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can do some calculations about what the mass of the thing that bent the light would have to be. But so you can, you know, kind of get some data on the thing that's impossible to see directly. So it's
Yeah,
interesting how you kind of run into the same issues in the super small scale and the super large scale.
yeah. But yeah, it's just interesting. Like a reading tip for anyone listening: Astrophysics for People in a Hurry by Neil deGrasse Tyson. Like a small little booklet, and he explains basically the universe in a
Yeah.
very comprehensible way.
Oh, and by the way, I have a song where I got the title from Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's the song is called "Speed of Darkness," and it was I was listening to his podcast, and he was talking about, you know, speed of light, and then, you know, somebody asked, well, what about speed of darkness? And he's like, darkness is not a thing. It doesn't have a speed. Like, that's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. And I was like, oh, but does it? And it kind of stuck in my brain, and so I was writing lyrics for this new song. So you know, that's where the title "Speed of Darkness" came.
Yeah, nice. I like creative names, and because Neil deGrasse Tyson is such a legend, right? Like he's a celebrity, like, and
Yeah,
he's
he has a charisma, you
and
know.
he's a total geek. Like
Yeah,
he can
yeah,
get
absolutely.
extremely excited about something very small that you would
Yeah,
think about is like, but why are you so excited? And then when he comes to explain it, they're like, yeah, there's way more to this than I actually thought.
yeah,
And he's the guy that thinks about that stuff all the time. So
yeah, yeah,
I think
exactly.
if I would have a brain like that, I would get tired of myself. So, I
Yeah,
was like, why
yeah,
can't I just look at this and be like, oh, that's a nice bright sky. That's a nice star over there. And he would like think about it. Yeah. There's probably a solar system around that star. There's a planet that has life on it.
but you know, that's one of the reasons why I listen to so many podcasts when I'm out and about. Like, I need to quiet my brain, because if I'm not listening to something, my thoughts are like racing constantly, and it gets you know, tiring to
Yeah.
you know. So actually, a lot of times when I'm, you know, uh, outside, always, I have the headphones on, because that's the only way I can quiet my brain for a little while
Mm-hmm.
when I'm listening to somebody else talking.
Nice. Yeah, that's quite calming to listen to. Yeah, just a good podcast, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah, I
You
like, there are times when I have to like declare podcast bankruptcy, and just, you know, because you subscribe to a bunch of them, and then you realize that you don't have time to listen to all of them, and like the inbox just keeps getting longer and longer, and you're
yeah,
getting
yeah.
anxiety from not having enough time to listen to all the podcasts. And then, you know, I just declare bankruptcy, and I, you know, remove all the subscriptions, and then I figure out which ones I'm gonna miss first, and I resubscribe only to those ones.
Yeah, fair enough. That's a first world problem right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I have anxiety. Why too many podcasts? No doubt.
That's my biggest issue in life. So hey, what are some of your favorite podcasts, by the way?
I like Startup, uh, Neil deGrasse
Which one?
Tyson.
Star Talk. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah.
Lawrence Cross has the Origins podcast.
Oh, interesting. So what's that?
It's Lawrence Krauss inviting people for a conversation. It's pretty
Mm-hmm.
much it. But you have like Ricky Gervais on, Noam Chomsky on. Uh, Pretty sure you had Neil deGrasse Tyson on there as well. Some other people. He invites people from all over the board, and yeah, just has conversations with them. It's really
Mm-hmm.
interesting because Lawrence
Yeah.
Krauss is a quite gifted scientist,
Yeah.
I believe. I'm not sure if they had Tom Harrison. Is his name Tom Harris? It is Tom Harris. Right? Come on. I've got the name.
One of my recent discoveries is one called the Pessimist Archive, and it's a great one. It's about like history of people freaking out about new technology, and it's funny how these things repeat themselves when people are now saying like, "Oh, Instagram generate." You found it?
I'm Googling.
Yeah. So the people now saying like, "Oh, Instagram generation, people are gonna become narcissists when they just take pictures of themselves."
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize that people said exactly the same thing about film cameras and Polaroid cameras, and before that, they even said that about mirrors. Like when mirrors became a thing in households, people had a freak out that people are just going to be all day looking at themselves and they're not, doing more virtuous things and they're going to become narcissists. And you're like, the freak out is always the same. Like now they're saying like cell phones, people are becoming addicted to cell phones and it's bad for you. And before that, it
Mm-hmm.
was the internet. And before that, it was books. And before that, it was like sticks and stones.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always the same freak out. It's just the new thing. And the arguments are always pretty much the same. And it's so funny. This podcast goes through like all the different like inventions throughout the history and how people freaked out about them. And there are some funny things like teddy bears, bicycles, like things you wouldn't expect, and mirrors, and if you want to listen to this like humorous take on like what I call like a techno panic, just to
Mm-hmm.
listen to the history of techno panic and how people freaked out the most mundane things throughout the history. That's a
Yeah,
great
yeah. I
one.
remember the story when the first train was there, and people were afraid to take a ride because they were afraid their face would like fly off because the train was so
Oh,
fast.
but this is funny because this face thing is one that comes with everything. Like every new invention, they say, "Oh, you shouldn't ride a bicycle or you get a bicycle face." Or you shouldn't ride a car or you get a car face, or you shouldn't ride a train or you get a train face. And it's interesting how no matter what the thing that comes along, they always say, oh yo, no, it's gonna mess up your face, you're gonna have like a permanent expression of horror on your face or something.
Yeah, or like get TV eyes if it was too much TV,
Yeah, and,
stuff
and
like
it's
that.
it's interesting how the like the arguments are pretty much the same throughout the history. No matter what the thing, there's only a couple of like main arguments that people have against them, and they just come back every time. There was one about like birthday parties. Like before, like the 1800s, people didn't have birthday parties, and when they started becoming a thing, people were so opposed. Mostly, I think, for religious reasons, because the prevailing religious dogma was that you're not
Mm-hmm.
supposed to elevate yourself, you should elevate the Lord. So if you're celebrating yourself, that means that you're not being pious enough or whatever. So
Yeah, yeah.
that was like the argument, like you shouldn't make yourself the center of attention, you should be grateful to the Lord. It's just, oh my God, you don't even like kids birthday parties, like, oh wow, you're not a lot of fun, are you?
No, no, that's especially Catholicism. Like everything that's fun, like you shouldn't do
Yeah.
unless you're a priest, and then you do it with little boys. Right?
Oh yeah. Don't even get me started on the Catholic Church. Oh, it,
Yeah, I found the name. It's Sam Harris, and I should have known.
oh yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
he's what is his job again? I believe like he's a neuroscientist.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's ethics, free will, neuroscience, meditation, philosophy of mind, terrorism, artificial intelligence. Those are the subjects he touches.
Yeah, pretty broad range of stuff, huh?
Yeah, yeah. He had a confrontation with Ben Affleck on Bill Maher's show
Oh yeah.
when he was criticizing Islam, and then Ben Affleck said, "That's racist." And of course, he wasn't being racist. He was well
Yeah.
informed on the subject. Like it's like it was just like from all religions at this moment, Islam is
Yeah.
the most violent at this moment in time.
Yes.
That's
But
not
of course,
racist.
it's not the only religion that has problems, and it's really difficult because this whole criticizing Islam thing is tricky because in my experience, at least 90% of the time when somebody is criticizing Islam, it's coming from a racist place.
Yeah, that's
It doesn't come from like a genuine intellectual exercise. So
mhm.
it's really difficult when somebody starts going down that rant. You're always like, oh, and when is there going to be some, when is the N word gonna come up? Because usually
Yeah,
people who talk like you, they are like that. And there's a couple of people like Bill Maher who can criticize Islam, and you don't feel like it's coming from a racist place. Like
no, no,
that's
no,
not where they
but
started.
like that's where the different line. It's like Islam is an idea, it's a religion, it's an idea, a philosophy. A Muslim is someone that follows the faith. You can have something against Islam and not against Muslim. The same as you can have
Yes.
something against Christianity and
Yes.
nothing against Christians, which I do because I have friends that are Christians. And like, okay, they believe that. That's fine. But it doesn't mean I agree with their ideology. I can still criticize
Yes.
that. Those are two different
And the
things. And with the people that don't see that difference and they're a critic, like their criticism of Islam becomes criticism of Muslims, a person, that's when it
yeah.
becomes dangerous, and that's when you get the racism stuff.
Yes, and it's people who don't really listen to what you're saying. They just get triggered
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you know because most people criticizing Islam are racists. The people who make a lot of noise about it, most of them are. So then people equate, those two things. But if you listen carefully, somebody can criticize Islam without being racist. It's
yeah.
perfectly possible.
Doesn't
It's
happen
not as
much.
common as the other thing, but it's still possible. So it's some people are just lazy and they don't listen to what people are saying. They just get triggered and fly off the handle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Ben Affleck in that episode.
Yeah.
It was it's pretty funny to watch because
Yeah.
I mean the guy was
And this
Batman,
whole
you know.
and this whole thing, like you're not allowed to criticize an idea, is like what, like hold on, what's going on here? Like if you have basically a philosophy or belief system and you're not allowed to criticize it, like no, like now we're not on the same page at all. Like
Yeah, yeah.
that's
That's the thing. You should be able to criticize everything, but
yes.
if you criticize something, please have some arguments to back your point up. So
Yes.
I mean, you can say, yeah, I don't hate, I don't, like, I hate black people. It's like, why? Because I got attacked by a black person. It's like, that's not a good argument. It's
Yeah,
like,
that's maybe understandable, but that's still not a good argument.
no,
Yeah.
that's not
uh
how it.
yeah, and uh, back when this immigration crisis was happening a few years ago in Europe, there was a lot of people making noise in Finland, like, oh, we have to stop these migrants. And then you ask them, oh, why should we do that? Oh, because we want to protect the women. We were protecting women, and there's, okay, but then why is this your group of people protecting the women? Why do so many of them have convictions for wife beating? Like, it this argument does not hold water. Like, I don't believe that you're looking after women's rights when these people have been convicted in the court of law for
Mhm.
beating their wives and girlfriends. Like, no, let's try something else. That's
Yeah,
not the
yeah.
reason why why you're
It's
doing that.
just like flying under a false flag. It's like,
Yes, exactly.
it's like I don't like
Yeah.
immigrants. That's still them. I want to keep a woman safe. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
dude, you didn't even have a girlfriend in the last 15 years. You don't even have no one to protect. You stupid idiot.
Your ex-wife has a restraining order and against you, and you're interested in protecting women. Like, no, I'm not buying this. Sorry.
It's all bullshit arguments. And it
Yeah.
happens every time something like that happens. Like, yeah, it's like an immigrant killed someone. We should stop all immigrants. It's like, well, there's a lot of your local people that also murder a bunch of people. It's
Yeah.
like you
and
have bad
and
people everywhere, you know?
and it happens on both sides. The whole thing about the Danish cartoonist that got, part of the Islamic world in a
Yeah,
rage, and that whole thing, like, there was like a lag of, I don't know, 5 to 7 years between the guy making that cartoon and this whole outrage starting, because when he drew the cartoon, nobody cared.
yeah,
Like, the Muslims mostly were like, yeah, that's in poor taste, but who cares, and moved
yeah,
along, until this one guy came along and needed to make some political hay, and he picked up this thing and realized that he can make people outraged and mobilize them if he keeps talking about it. So it was like completely political, cynical ploy, but by basically one guy who wanted more influence in that part
yeah.
of the world, who kept bringing up and then managed to drum up this rage that wasn't there when it originally happened. It was completely machinated by this one guy.
Yeah, and you can see it was completely on purpose because they were burning Danish flags on the street in freaking Islamic countries. Where can you buy a Danish flag in a country like that? You're in the middle of the desert, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden they all have these Danish flags that they can burn. It's like, something's kind of fishy. I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm pretty sure they don't have a Danish flag store like in Saudi Arabia or something. You know, it's like,
Uh, Have you tried the Danish district?
Danish. Okay, I'm gonna grab myself a beer real quick. So in the meantime, promote your Facebook page or something.
Did we hit the 1 hour mark or something?
I don't know.
Oh, you're back. Okay, okay.
Uh, hold on. Yeah, okay. No, my internet had a little dip. It seems. Is it still on? Eh. Yeah, I can hear it.
All right, I'm here.
Yeah. All right, give me a sec.
All right.
Good.
Oh, there we go. Oh, come on. I was expecting Danish beer.
If
I was
anyone from
expecting
the
you
if
I was
anyone
expecting
from
you to get a
Sviani
Danish
is
beer out of the fridge.
no.
Carlsberg, you know.
Good old Carlsberg. No, if the people from Sviani want to sponsor my podcast, send me a message. Oh crap! Sprayed all over my laptop. Okay, it's good.
So, are you working from home now?
I had a week holiday because I was in self quarantine for the last week, but I will start home office from tomorrow.
Oh, okay. So same thing for me. I've been on vacation this week. Uh, just because I had a long to-do list of stuff I wanted to get done, write some songs and stuff like that. So I took a week off. And yeah, starting tomorrow, I'm doing the home office thing now.
Nice.
I had to run off to Alza to get some stuff like a USB hub and external monitor and stuff, so I can get some, because working on the laptop for one day is you can kind of work around things, but if you need to work for weeks, it kind of starts eating away at the productivity if you don't have enough USB ports and you don't have enough display real estate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have a laptop, but I do have an extra screen if needed, so I'm probably gonna set that up.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna be mostly doing social media.
Yeah. So you say you like self quarantined yourself? Was that because you were in contact with somebody who got sick, or?
Yeah, my stepdad was in Prague like a week and a half ago,
Yeah.
and then when he got home, he got a fever and shit.
Oh,
So I got a message from my
okay.
mom, and I went to my team leader. It's like, "There's his case. I think I should go." He's like, "Yeah, I go home. I'll
Yeah,
call
I
you later."
got
It's like,
uh 2 weeks ago I was in the office and my colleague who sits next to me gets a call from his girlfriend, and the girlfriend says like, "Hey, I've been quarantined by a doctor because I was in contact with a person who tested positive for COVID-19." And then my colleague is like, "Hey, what should I do?" And the boss says like, "Okay, that means you go home now and you have mandatory home office for the next 2 weeks. You're not allowed to come back to the office." But I was like, I just went to lunch with this guy. Like, so like, do I have it now? Well, it's been 2 weeks and I'm fine. So I guess I didn't catch it. Or if I did, it's one of those cases where there's no symptoms. But,
mm-hmm.
I've been measuring my temperature every morning, and,
Yeah,
if I,
I'm doing completely fine. No
yeah,
problems. My sister had a bit of some symptoms, but she's also fine. Everybody's doing fine. That's
yeah, yeah, that's good. That's good.
good. But yeah, it's something you need to take seriously, and I think we still have people that don't take it seriously.
We do. There's always a small number of idiots who, and there's really nothing you can do about it. You just have to minimize the damage that they can do. But when I look around, I walk on the streets, I literally haven't seen a single person without a mask for the
Yeah,
past few
same.
days when I walk the dog. So everybody is wearing a mask. Even like the homeless drunks at the metro station in Vltavska, sitting there, drinking wine. All of them had masks.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
So,
sure the city council just goes around and like, there,
yeah,
wear it,
yeah,
you know?
maybe the cops came around and gave them
Yeah.
masks or whatever, possibly. But so it seems to me, at least well, I'm not really going out except with the dog, and I picked up some shit from Alza. But from what I can see, first of all, there's a lot fewer people on the streets. There's
Yeah.
barely anybody. We went to the park today because I've been in here for a week, so I figured me and the dog are gonna do a lap around Stromovka.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot fewer people for a sunny Sunday afternoon, and everybody wearing masks. So it looks like, but that's the interesting thing about this, is that there's this long delay. between catching something and getting the symptoms, and then after getting the symptoms you have to get tested and everything before it becomes a statistics point. So
Mhm.
all these quarantine rules have a lag of at least a week,
Mhm.
maybe 2 weeks before you start seeing any results. So
Mhm.
um, but from what I've been seeing from early on, from when Czech Republic had like 20 or 30
Mhm.
cases, I've been looking at like what's the rate of growth. And in the beginning, before any restrictions, it was about 40% more cases from day to day.
Mhm.
And I think now we're down to like more like 20%.
Yeah, there is a slowing of the curve a bit. It goes a bit
But of
more
course,
steady.
the absolute increase from day to day is still bigger
Mhm.
because there's more cases now. But it seems to me like the at least the rate is slowing down, but it's still exponential growth. Like
Yeah,
if you add 20% every day, that's still not sustainable. But hopefully, in a week, we can see that the rate is something more manageable.
yeah, because that's the biggest problem. It's the amount of people getting it at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But also, like, if you manage to limit the rate of growth to something like, let's say, 5%, that means that we're gonna be in lockdown for a lot longer
Hmm.
before everybody before everybody's had it. So
Yeah,
I don't
they're
know.
pretty much done. Better start on that solo album.
Yeah, there's a. But it's interesting, I see a lot more content coming from people, like we were talking about the podcast bankruptcy for the first week of this lockdown. Suddenly, like podcasts we usually put out, one episode per 2 weeks or one episode per month, are suddenly putting out like 2 episodes a week. And same thing happened with some YouTube channels, that used
Mhm.
to post quite infrequently, but they're suddenly like putting out a lot more content. So it seems like, everybody being stuck at home is good for, content creation.
Yeah, I know some of my friends put out a like an online open mic kind of thing yesterday
Oh yeah.
on Facebook and Instagram. Like they had every artist on their own Instagram, and like one person would do 2 songs and would link to the next artist, and they would do 2 songs and they would link to the next artist. And they did that for like 2 hours. And yeah,
Ah, all right.
people liked
Yeah.
it because they're like, okay, we still want to play, but we
Yeah.
cannot go out, so how do we solve this? So,
Yeah.
and like my favorite tea house in Prague, Mason Krajovna, is putting their events on the live stream. Instead of having people there, they just stream it out. So people can watch it.
Yeah. I've been thinking about that because, um, I've been building this in-ear monitoring rig for my band.
Hmm.
And it's now finished, which means that I can also do live recordings of the whole band, and it also means that I could be streaming. Oh, and by the way, about that, I've been meaning to talk to you. If you at some point would be interested in doing some monitor mixes for my band. If we play a show and I'm not completely comfortable with like mixing and singing the in-ears at the same time,
Hmm.
I was wondering, we should talk if you would come to at least the first couple of shows, and you could be the monitor mixer before we have the presets, and
Yeah,
everything
cool.
locked down. So if there's like some catastrophic event, I don't have to stop the show and go on the laptop and figure it out. You would be there
Yeah, yeah.
to have
Oh,
a handle
sure.
on it. So yeah, if that's something you might be interested in, we can talk later.
Yeah, definitely. Just
Yeah.
let me know.
Yeah,
Sure.
because I know you've done a bunch of live sound, so
Yeah,
you are probably more comfortable with that. I've
and
done a little bit, but not enough
I
to be comfortable.
started as a monitor mixer mostly,
Yeah,
which
all right.
is
So there
which
you go.
is actually a harder job than doing the front of house mix
Yeah, because
because
you're
you have
doing
like
five.
five separate mixes you're doing.
Yeah, you're doing five mixes. Exactly. Yeah.
A lot of people don't think about that. They're like, oh, let's just do the stage. Like, yeah, try that with 12 musicians on the stage.
Yes, and
And,
you're dealing with the
every musician is like a wanker with a big ego that cannot get enough of himself. You need it
yeah.
louder. It's like,
Yeah,
You don't
and you're
make.
the one who has to deal with the feedback with the wedges on stage and all that.
Mm.
People are not using IEMs.
Yeah, I think everyone should fucking go in here, man. It calms the volume on stage down. It makes it easier for the
Yeah.
guy in the front to put on a good mix. But it's
I
not
mean,
overscreened by
yes.
some deaf like bass player. I cannot hear himself with his like 8 times 12 inch amp pack like freaking wall.
Pointed at the front row,
Yeah, and like
pointed at his
turns it
ankles and the front row's faces.
and turns it to 11,
Yeah.
and then like the whole venue goes like, oh, like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. I
nice to
know.
have an amp pack on, It's really nice. Keep it down, guys. Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, in-ears are great, but they are expensive and they are kind of complicated. It's much easier to roll around to the venue and just use the wedges that are there, and the house sound guy, whoever you have doing the sound. It's easier
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
because I've been building this thing, and I realized, like, oh shit, yeah, it's not simple. You have to study to get it right, and
Mm-hmm.
even then you don't even know what the end result is. The end result is only as good as the mix you get out of it, right?
Yeah.
So so it's complicated, it's expensive, and there's no guarantee that it's actually going to be better than the mix you would have had with the wedges. So
Yeah, I love
yeah.
to see that when you had that Michael Jackson documentary, This Is It, like of his latest rehearsals for the final tour he would do before he died.
Yeah, the tour he didn't do, right?
Yeah, yeah. And then you see him trying to get adjusted to using in ears because he never used it before.
Yeah.
And it's just like the diehard, just like stage sound. Like, okay, let's keep it rolling. And then an in ear is completely different.
Yeah, it really depends on what kinds of in-ears you're using, because I was using these KZs, and they don't like completely isolate you from the, like, it's like using earplugs. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it brings the volume down, but you can still hear the band, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with the in-ears, what I would do is that I would the foam plugs would bring down the volume of the band so my ears are not hurting, and then I can just inject my vocal just enough that I can really hear myself, and you're not disconnected from it completely. But yeah, if you're using those custom molded
Mm-hmm.
things that are like quite hard silicone and
Mm-hmm.
completely seal off your ear from the outside world, then yeah, probably it can be different. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get a great mix though. Like, have a good band. Like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if you would have Michael Jackson's band playing,
Yes.
you're gonna have a good sound. Like,
You're gonna have a good mix, but you're disconnected. So that's the thing. And looking into this, I've seen this topic come up, and usually what people say is that you need to have a couple of microphones pointing at the audience, so
yeah,
and then blend it into the in-ears, so you're
yeah.
so the feeling of being completely isolated from your surrounding goes away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
It's like that. Have you ever gone into one of these like completely echoless rooms?
yeah. Once it's very uncomfortable.
Yes. So that's the
Yeah,
feeling you get, basically,
yeah, yeah.
right? You walk in and suddenly it's not natural to not hear anything. You
But
kind
yeah,
of freak out.
like you can hear your blood streaming through your body.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and it's not normal for you to be that way, completely disconnected from sounds outside your head. And I guess that's, I haven't tried the custom molded stuff, so I don't know exactly what it sounds like, but I imagine that's the feeling you get. It's kind of disorienting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's great to save your hearing. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm not mixing, I wear ear protection. But like, when I was younger, a lot of my friends were like, "Oh, you pussy, earplug." And like now they're
Yeah.
older, they like do the same thing because they realize, yeah, you only have one set of ears,
Yeah.
and once you fuck them up, they're fucked up forever. There's nothing that will fix
I don't know how I picked it up, but when I was a kid, even when I was like 13, 14, started playing guitar, started for the first time playing with drummers, I instantly realized that this is a bad idea. Like
Hmm.
and I went to the guitar store to buy strings or whatever, and they would have this little bowl of earplugs uh, at the counter, and I picked up a handful of earplugs, and I started using them, and all my bandmates were like, "Oh, what are you doing? Are you a pussy? Like, like that's not rock and roll and whatever." But I just insisted because I don't like the feeling of my ears hurting.
No, yeah, because it
So,
gets pretty
and I
loud.
was yeah, and I was always pretty good about using earplugs, going to concerts. Even if I go to a nightclub, like I need earplugs. I can't take like if I go to what's the retro music hall. I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
out drinking one night and somebody decided we need to go in there and the music blasting. Holy fucking hell. I had to dig my earplugs and put them on because I can't take the volume level.
It's too loud. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be that loud.
Yeah.
And that's what you see with a lot of like professional mixing engineers now. They, when you have like really good guys like Ken van Butten, who is now doing the sound for Iron Maiden, did sound for Justin Bieber. Before that, he did sound for Linkin Park. And like, there are some interviews with him like at the mixing board, and he was like on his Linkin Park. He was like, "Yeah, I found a way to not mix above 105 decibels sound pressure level, but still have the same impact." Because the
Yeah.
technology you have in PA systems nowadays, like you can mix at lower volumes and still have the same impact. Like either you do something to the low end that makes it feel louder than it actually is, because that's what people
Yeah.
want to feel at a live show. It doesn't have to be crazy loud. 'Cause I remember going to underground clubs with punk bands playing, and they were just so
Yeah.
fucking loud. You know, like a
Yeah.
Motorhead show kind of loud. It was like
Yeah.
Motorhead's freaking thing. So everything louder than anything else. Yeah, I was wearing my earplugs. Fuck yourself, Lemmy. Fucking love you to death, but that was too much. Halfway through the
You-
set, like he was like, "You want it louder?" I'm like, "That kind of loud enough. You don't need more
all right.
volume." But he was like,
L-
"Yeah,
l-
I need more volume."
Let me share one of my favorite war stories. So, me and my old band, we were touring around Europe with Wasp and Dragon Force. And
Ah.
Wasp and Dragon Force were built to play this show in Italy.
Hmm.
It was some big festival like Gods of Metal or something. But we had the day off because we were not booked to play the festival. So we heard that the sound guy who was mixing us and Dragon Force, in the morning they would have a meeting with all the sound guys, with the organizers, and the organizers said like, look, the decibel limit is, I don't know, 100 dB at the mixing booth, and if you go over that, there's going to be a guy with a measuring device, and if you go over that, you get a fine. And the sound guy for Testament goes like, how much is the fine? Oh, it's, I don't know, 3,000 euros. Okay, we'd like to pay it right now.
Stupid rock and roll idiots. Do love those attitudes though. It's like I remember like we were throwing like amateur cover band festival where local bands would cover their like heroes, right? It was like one time
Yeah.
only. This musicians would get together, practice a set, and play it outside. And like we set up like the mixing desk and everything, right? And like the fire department came to measure. It's like, yeah, it has to be like 105 decibels like at the mixing desk. It's like, okay, sure. So I looked at the other guy. It's like, dude, can you give me a hand? And we literally just moved the mixing desk 10 meters further backward. Because policemen don't know about sound pressure levels. Like they know
Yeah.
how the meter works, but they don't know the
Yeah.
concept of it. It's like, well, you move 10 meters backwards, you gain like 2 decibels in your overall sound pressure, which is a lot. It's almost like, as an experience, it's almost like twice as loud.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, sure. Like, move the thing back. And we didn't mix at the maximum level, but you want some headroom. It's like,
Yeah.
Like when the final act comes, you want it to be like, and the last act covered like Rammstein, like very,
Oh wow.
very,
Yeah.
very well.
Yeah. Oh,
Like this
that's cool.
big metal dude, you know, like
But also, if you think about it, that sound guy from Testament, uh, that's an easy trick to make your band sound better than the other bands because louder just sounds better. That's just the effect of sound pressure on the brain. If you play people two clips and one of them is louder, most people are going to say that the louder sounds better.
mm,
So if your band is louder than the other bands, most people are going to think that your band sounds better than the other bands. So it's kind of a dick move. And by the way, this used to be a thing that used to happen to bands opening for big acts. They would have a bunch of these fucking rules to make the opening bands look worse than the headliner. And
yeah,
it would be like you're not allowed to use the lights, or you're not allowed to use more than 95 decibels, or you're
yeah.
not allowed to use more than 8 channels on the mixer or
All
whatever. And they
that
would put
fucking
these.
bullshit. Yeah, fucking hate that.
Yes, and
It's like, come on,
and
they're
I
opening
heard.
up for you, man. It's like,
Yeah, and I heard from the people who have worked in the industries and worked with like some of the biggest acts in the world, and they had a list of names like who are the biggest assholes in the industry, and Kiss was one of them. Who the name came up like, yeah, like they really put the screws on the opening acts because they are mortified that the opening act is going to sound or look better than them.
well, they probably will. I mean, it's Kiss. I
Well, I
mean,
don't know. Kiss
they're
has a
fun.
pretty
It's a
good
good
show.
band. Well,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a good show. Well, it's
yeah.
not the best band in the world. I mean, they had some practice by now, so I hope they play really well.
I should hope by now, because
Yeah,
they've
but
done
like,
like
I just,
9 final tours by now.
I just don't like Gene Simmons' attitude. I just don't like it.
No, he's kind of a
He's,
dick.
yeah, it's like, dude, you don't need to be like this. But
Exactly.
he chooses to be like that.
Oh my God. Uh, Paul Stanley wrote this autobiography, and he actually read the audiobook himself. If you go on YouTube, you can find it. It's somebody posted the whole thing chapter by chapter. So I got sucked into this YouTube rabbit hole of listening to the whole audiobook, and it's so beautiful. Like first of all, Paul is talking shit about everybody he's worked with. Like he doesn't have a lot of nice things to say about anybody, and especially Gene. Like, and it's so funny, like he said, like Gene was brought up to appreciate money, and I would sometimes use this for my personal amusement and advantage. Like for example, one time we were walking through Chinatown, and I would throw pennies in the gutter, knowing that Gene would have to go and pick them up because he just couldn't refuse doing that.
That's
And when you go through
beautiful.
and then he goes on like enumerating all these things that happened throughout the years where Gene would basically do anything for money. Like no matter what it was, if you told him you would pay him for it, he would do basically anything. So like that's it. At least from what Paul said in the
Yeah.
book, like that's his like main motivation in life. And
Well,
by the way,
he did pretty well, obviously. I mean,
he did, and he made a bunch of money, but it doesn't seem like he's still very happy about making a lot of money. He still feels kind of like an angry dude. But if you go on YouTube, by the way, and you Google Gene Simmons, you will find a bunch of videos from birthday parties where Gene Simmons is playing somebody's bar mitzvah because somebody paid him money to do it, and he would hit these. And by the way, he would like call up Ace and say like, Ace, hey, we need to play some guy's birthday party in Beverly Hills. I need you to come. I'll pay you $5,000 or whatever. But the thing is, he was paid 50,000, and he would pocket like 45, and he would pay Ace like 5,000 to come and play acoustic guitar for a couple of songs. And Ace thought it was a really good deal. And this is the kind of shit he would. this is the kind of shit he would always pull on his bandmates. Like he would like completely pocket all the money he could, and if he could get away with not telling them how much money he got, he would do it. Absolutely.
That's impressive. It
Yeah.
doesn't surprise me at all. Okay, I'm gonna take a leak real quick. I think I can pause this recording. Oh, I can. This app is amazing.
All right. Time travel.
Yeah, okay, so we'll be back in a sec.
And we're back.
We're back! Oh my god.
Magic.
Yeah, everybody, download Zoom. It's a good application, I have to say. Can I make myself bigger? No, I cannot. Okay, that's fine.
Oh, you mean the video? If you, I think if you double click on the like little window, it gets bigger.
Oh no, I'm switching it. It switches. Can I just? That doesn't work. People are gonna see some weird shenanigans going on. Can I just? You can drag it. Let me not block your pretty face, cause. Yeah, there we go. So, cheers, everyone.
I get my like Moomin mug of coffee here,
That's good. I had too much coffee already for a day. So.
It's always good to get a little amped up before doing a podcast.
Yeah, definitely. Shit, I do need some more light. Let me just put on the light real quick.
All right.
Yeah, on the beautiful red couch.
Yeah. I watched the first episode you did, and you had this kind of Twin Peaks style red velvet thing going on.
Yeah, it was actually in the basement of our 3 bar, which is the bar I live above.
Yeah, I really appreciate the amount of effort you're putting into this. So for the first episode, you actually bothered to go downstairs from your flat, and second episode, you're just fuck it, I'm just calling in.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You gotta do what you gotta do, no?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's fun. It's nice to give the creative people in the city a little bit of exposure because I'm in touch with a lot of these people because I host an open mic every Tuesday when the country is not on lockdown. So I meet a lot of creative, interesting, ambitious people
Yeah,
with great talents. So it's
and some of them are pretty funny people. If you bring them on, they have interesting thoughts,
Mhm.
and good stories,
Yeah, now my camera is not going around because it's attached to my computer. Like that's why my last episode ended with a bunch of goats jumping around the screen and we were still having a conversation. Yeah.
So, what do you want to talk about next?
Yeah, good question. So, how's the lockdown treating you? Are you surviving?
Well, I mean, first week basically down now. I haven't really left the house in a week. Today is like the first day when I'm feeling a little bit anxious. So what I did, I just started to do a bunch of, push-ups and pull-ups, try to get some, I guess blood circulating a little bit, to get rid of the anxious feeling. Because I had a pretty good, workout regimen going, and now that the gyms are closed and all that, I'm like, I should open like legal gym in my basement. That's what I'm thinking about. Like I'm gonna order a bunch of weightlifting equipment, put it in the basement, and then I'm gonna like let one person at a time in. I'm gonna disinfect the whole place, between and so I'm thinking like like for a roll of toilet paper, you can do one workout, or if you bring me a bottle of hand sanitizer, you can get a whole month. You know.
Hmm. I think people will go for it, literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
like
G.
I would love to like do some recording, but yeah, of course, that's not a possibility. Except
Yeah.
recording myself, and I'm not gonna listen to my own voice or something.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I can program drums. I can play bass. I can play guitar here.
Mm,
But singing, I can do demos, but I can't do like proper stuff because you can probably hear it. But this room is like basically a concrete cube
mm.
with the ceiling height of, I don't know, 4 meters or whatever.
Oh, like old
So you,
school Prague room
yeah,
kind of idea. Yeah,
yeah,
here it's pretty low, but this I think this is pretty more on flat. I'm at my girlfriend's place right now. Because like we
yeah.
both had to go like into the quarantine as out of a precaution. So it's like, yeah, just come here, otherwise I'll be alone in my flat, you'll be alone in your flat.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
just
Makes
dragged
sense.
my whole freaking gaming setup
Oh
in
yeah,
here in
I've
a
seen
truck.
you've been doing a lot of like streaming gaming on Facebook.
Yeah, it's like why the fuck not? Like I'm playing anyway, and if anyone is bored, can just watch me fail miserably. Because that's basically what happens when I play video games.
You know, the family fucked off to the country a week ago, so I've been home by myself. So I finally had some time, to play video games. First time in forever. So I bought a new laptop that can actually play some games, and I got a free copy of Red Dead Redemption 2. So I've been playing
Uh,
that a little bit. Yeah,
dude, that game is sick.
it is sick, but you know what I realized since I haven't played any video games in like 6 years is they are steadily getting more and more complicated.
Hmm.
So back in the day, it used to be that you would sit down, pick up a new video game, and like 3 minutes later you had it pretty much figured out without reading the manual or anything.
Yeah.
And then what started happening is that they would have this little tutorial in the beginning. So they
Hmm.
would teach you how to play the game in the first 5 or 10 minutes of the game, teach you, show you the ropes, and then you would be good. But now I'm like 4 hours in, and I still don't know half of the shit. Like, I go on YouTube and I find like 15 tips for Red Dead Redemption, and half of those are things that I can't even do in the game yet because I haven't played some mission that unlocks some new feature in the game, and I'm
Yeah.
already overwhelmed with all the different things I'm supposed to do, like tracking animals and
Yeah.
and horseback riding. You fall back and go forward, ride this, do that. So many buttons to remember, and I'm like, oh shit, like this is overloading my brain. I need to start taking notes so I know next time, I'm supposed to shoot something off the back of the horse, that I need to push this button first and then this button. And I'm like, oh, it's a great game, I'm sure, but there's definitely a learning curve that is different from the games that I used to play. Let's say when I was really playing games, which was, let's say 10, 15 years ago.
Hmm.
They're so much more complicated, but of course, they're much bigger productions now.
But like Red
But
Dead Redemption for me, because I played it on console, I have a PlayStation 4, and it came out on consoles first, and then it got ported to the PC. That took like
yeah,
2 years for them to do that.
yeah,
It is, I think, the best game I played on a PlayStation ever.
yeah,
Like it's so immersive and so free, right? It's like,
yeah,
yeah, you can like follow the main story, or you can hunt a grizzly bear, whatever you feel like. Or like
yeah.
you're on your way to something and then you see something, it's like, oh, what's that? And you go investigate. You meet a freaking ghost in the swamp or something. And think, what?
One thing so far that's a little bit bugging me is that there's no clear indication when the thing is saving your progress, and some of the missions go on for like a really long time. Like sometimes it takes me 2 hours to go through a mission because you do one mission and it directly runs into the next mission, and I'm when I play video games, I'm pretty tense. Like all my muscles are kind of like tense when I play because I really get into the story and everything. Like I'm the
Yeah,
guy who's like dodging bullets,
yeah,
like
yeah,
this when I'm playing. So I don't really like playing long sessions because I get physically tired from
mm,
like squeezing the controller so hard. So
yeah,
so when there's like 2 hours and I can't save, every time I try to save, it says saving is not possible because you're in the middle of a mission. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. If I stop now, do I have to play next time the 1 hour and a half how I got to this point? So that's the only thing that's kind of annoying me. Like I wish
yeah,
there was a better indication, like, oh, saving now, if you quit, you can pick it up from here.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I have the PlayStation VR thing. I bought
Oh
it
yeah.
last Christmas. It's pretty dope. And I went to the March PlayStation sale, and they have a VR port of Skyrim, which I
Ah.
never played before. But
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I heard it's a pretty legendary RPG, right? It's like, people still
Yeah.
love it to this day.
Yeah.
And like I never got like the RPG game genre that much, even though I played The Witcher 3, which was pretty epic, but never finished it because I suck. I tend to go to
Yeah.
the wrong locations and get like this overkill level enemies that just kill me. And then, like after trying like 7 times, like yeah, fuck me. But Skyrim levels up with the level you're at. So whatever quest you go to, it adjusts to the level you're on at that time.
Yeah.
And in VR, it's so immersive. It's like there's this creatures called frost spiders. They're like a huge fucking tarantulas. Fucking hate them. Like
Yeah.
whenever there's a game with insects that are bigger than me, I'm not good at
Yeah.
that and to begin with.
Yeah,
And
I
then it's
fucking
like
hate
in
spiders, man.
3D and shit. Oh,
Yeah.
fucking hell. I found a good way to kill them though. Just like cast my magic like fire spell and burn them to shit before they can reach me. It's like yeah, that's good. Like I will remember
Yeah.
this. It's like because
I'm not a
the
huge
game is really
RPG
good.
guy.
Yeah, me neither. But Skyrim I really like. It's like
Um,
it looks beautiful. Like
Yeah.
the stories are good. Like it's just I mean it still has bugs in it. It's like dude, this game came out like in 2000 freaking like what is it 2010 or something, maybe even earlier than that. It's an old game.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
Bethesda
And
just
I know people who
keeps
still play it.
yeah
Yeah.
because it's
It's
just a good game.
yeah. I know I've played a bunch of those. Do you remember what those Star Wars RPGs were called? I'm blanking out on the name.
Oh shit.
I know I played those. I played all the Mass Effect. I played all the
I still need to play
Fables.
Mass Effect because I heard it's pretty fucking
Yeah. Oh yeah, and of course, some of the Final Fantasy stuff. I
epic.
like early on, like Final Fantasy 7 and 8. I played those. I don't think I finished them though. But I've played some of them. I'm not a huge RPG guy, but like my like number one is a racing game. If I can find a good like realistic racing
Mm.
game, I'm happy.
I'm
And then
playing. I'm playing Gran Turismo Sport, which is
oh yeah,
good,
yeah,
and I
Gran
play Dirt
Turismo,
Rally.
yeah,
Because Dirt Rally, if you pay like €13, you can play it in VR.
oh yeah,
That shit is terrifying. It's like, why would you drive a car on this road with no grip that fast? Like,
yeah. It's
it
like
makes no sense.
if you go on YouTube and you find some in-car camera footage from the Finnish rally,
Yeah,
it's fucking insane because basically the dirt road that you're going through is pretty much as wide as the car, and like
there's
it's
not much
really
room.
difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they are going like 200 kilometers an hour there, and there's trees right at the edge of the
Yeah.
road.
And there's
Like
no
you
grip.
go off in any direction, you're gonna hit a tree.
Yeah.
and
And,
and
there,
and
and there's no
the
grip.
drivers, they literally don't blink, during the
Mm.
stage. Like they have the team doctor waiting for them at the finish line to put eye drops because their eyes
Yeah.
dry up because they don't blink literally.
Well,
So it's
if you do, you hit a tree.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's
So
crazy.
yeah,
Because like I'm
but
happy when I play that game because Dirt Rally is a simulation. It's not like an arcade game. It's a
okay,
simulation
okay.
game, and I
Oh,
play
that's
it
cool.
with pedals and a steering wheel.
Yeah.
And like if you put the VR headset on, it's the
I think
realism
I have
is
the
uncanny. Like,
I think I have Dirt Rally 2. I got it from some Steam sale for probably for free because I don't think I would have bought it otherwise. I probably got it for free, but I never was able to play it because my old computer was so slow that it couldn't handle any of the like
yeah.
modern video games. But now I have a new like gaming laptop, so I should probably fire up Dirt 2, see if that's good.
It's basically almost any race game made by Codemasters is
Oh,
good.
okay, I remember them. They used to do the Colin McRae
Yeah,
rally.
and they do the official Formula One game as well.
They do now?
Yeah, for since 2016, I think.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
because those used to be pretty bad.
Mm.
Like I tried first few of those Formula One racing games, and they were quite terrible.
No, if you do it now, it's a great game. It's like a game that Formula One drivers play when they're not driving the car. Like,
Oh, all right, because I think there's some kind of sale going on with those. I might pick up one of them.
it's good, and Formula One
Except
is
the Formula
just
One season is
crazy.
canceled now, so
Yeah, but they're probably gonna do a few online races. There's almost
really,
a lot of Formula One drivers have a simulator at home to usually practice, you know.
yeah.
So now they're like, oh, maybe we can like put an online race on
Oh, that would be so funny.
because they have like this hashtag, not a US Grand Prix, like not Australian Grand Prix,
Yeah.
and they basically had a race lobby in a game called iRacing, I believe, and there was like half of the Formula One grid was competing in that race with like famous sim racing YouTubers. It's fucking great. It's like,
Oh, that sounds like fun.
yeah, but then like when I see them race, I'm like, yeah, I really suck at race games. Even though I love playing them, whenever I
Yeah.
go into an online race, I notice my lack of skill. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah. I have the thing
like
where
1.5 seconds slower than like the rest of the grid. You know, it's like,
yeah.
where did you get that speed? Because I cannot even get the grip in this corner. You know? It's like,
Yeah.
and
It's
they
like
just fly. It's like,
I usually think I'm hot shit until I go online and realize that no, there's another level that I was not aware of.
yes. And it happens with everything, you know. It's like, shit. It's like, oh, I'm good at this shooter. Let's try it online. Okay, I'm not good at this shooter.
Yeah. I mean, there's people who are 14 years old and do nothing besides go to school and play video games, and you cannot compete with them if you have a life. Like
Yeah.
it's just not possible.
Because we have to maintain relationships and blah, blah, blah.
Buy groceries and cook and take the dog out and all that
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah. And these times I'm really happy I have my dog because I actually get to go outside
Yeah.
with my dog. Dog is
Yeah.
happy to be outside. It's like, yay, I'm outside. And then, like when we go home, it's like, yay, we're at home. It's like, dog is always happy.
Yeah.
Because I think my dog is in love with my girlfriend. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like this yeah, late morning, my girlfriend went to take a nap, and the dog joins her. My girlfriend fell asleep for like 3.5 hours, and the dog was just there for 3.5 hours, not moving, just chilling. It's like,
Me and my dog have a new thing because a little while back I picked up meditation to try to
mhm.
manage stress. So now every time I go to meditate, the dog wants to sleep on my lap.
Oh,
So
that's probably good though.
Yeah, yeah. It's very calming, you know. Every time
Yeah,
she knows when I go, because most of the time I'm here by the desk at the computer, but now she knows that when I go and sit on the couch in the living room, that's meditation time. So wherever she is, if she's asleep or whatever, as soon as I sit on the couch, the dog comes up and climbs on my lap. You know, takes a little nap while I meditate. So that's good.
that's like the dog. A dog is such a stress reliever. Like it doesn't matter how bad your day at work was, you know, you come home stressed out. You walk into the house and like the dog comes up. It's like, yeah, like oh, I'm black. It's like you're like, yeah, yeah, okay, it's good. Like okay,
Yeah.
like I'm
Somebody's
home
happy to
now.
see you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. And like we adopted this dog in September, I think, but she's pretty much feeling right at home. Like when my girlfriend goes to sleep, she usually goes to sleep earlier than I do. So my girlfriend goes to sleep, the dog joins her, my girlfriend falls asleep, my dog goes to a little dog bag. I go to bed, and the dog stands up, jumps on my feet, and just sleeps there. So nice.
Yeah.
Like, dogs are pretty epic.
Yeah. It's nice.
So to anyone watching, if you need a stress reliever, get a dog. Like, don't buy one, go to the shelter, rescue a dog that needs attention.
We tried to get a rescue dog, but the shelter wouldn't reply to our emails. So they
I
had a
just
whole
found,
web.
I literally found my dog through Facebook, like a Facebook
Yeah.
post, and I saw the picture. I was like, oh, it's kind of cute. Kind of like a cute dog. I just sent a
when we were
message.
looking when we were looking for a dog, we looked up some of those dog shelter pages, and then we
Hmm.
found, you know, a couple. Oh, that looks cute, and emailed them. Never got back to us, and we emailed them in Czech. You know, not it's not like, you know, if you email some businesses here in
Yeah,
English, they never reply. But
because they're probably like, I don't understand this email.
yeah, and I don't want to deal with the person who doesn't speak Czech. You know, I understand. You know that sometimes
Yeah, yeah. I
you don't have the
usually don't
time
have
and
a
the
problem with
energy
that.
to deal with that. You know, that's all right. But you know, this, you know, I'm like, you're trying to give away these dogs. We're telling you we would like to have one, and you're not replying to the email, so you get to keep the dog.
Yes, it's pretty
If
much
your
it.
problem is that you don't have enough dogs, this is exactly the solution.
Yeah. No, like we just got lucky, like because my girlfriend's daughter was, I want a dog, I want a dog, I want a dog. And like I saw this post, and I'm like, what do you think about this dog? It's kind of nice. What if you just get it, you know? We didn't have time to meet the dog before because it was all the way like in eastern Slovakia to the Ukrainian border.
Oi, oi, oi. It's
It
quite a
was a long
drive.
drive, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we'll just make it work and just say yes. Because we got some photos and videos of the dog. We're like, oh, she looks nice. And she's doing great.
That's nice.
Yeah, she brings some life in the family. You know?
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
She killed two of the daughter's hamsters, unfortunately.
Really.
Yeah, like one of the hamsters escaped and she found it. So yeah, she was
Oi.
checking it out, and yeah, that was it. And the other one, she literally physically charged for. Like the cage was pretty low, and like an hour before it died, which sadly was on the daughter's birthday, right? Like one of my girlfriend's friends told her, like, you should put that cage up because the dog is gonna get to it. Like, no, no, it's gonna be fine. Like an hour later, someone opens the door, dog runs into the room, goes to the cage, hits the cage falls on the floor, hamster escapes, dog picks up the hamster, that hamster.
Oi, oi, oi. A life lesson about
Yeah,
the circle of life.
like five traumatized kids, and me having
Yeah,
to clean up the hamster, and I was crying of laughter. I mean, it's really sad, but it's a
yeah,
dog, it's like
yeah.
some kind of Labrador crossover dog. Yeah, she likes to hunt stuff. That's instinct. You know? So she
I
didn't
remember
eat
when I was
it.
a
She just checked it out.
Yeah,
Because
of course. Yeah. I mean, the dog's gonna follow its instincts. It's like when I was a kid, my friend had a dachshund, and they were walking the dog in the forest, and the dog saw a squirrel and actually managed to catch the squirrel and kill it. And my friend was so upset that the dog would kill a cute little squirrel with a puffy tail, and he was so upset. Like, we were maybe 10 years old, and I was like, "What is it? Look, it's a hunting dog. Like
yeah,
it's bred to hunt badgers and whatnot. If it sees a squirrel, it's gonna you know
go for it.
try to
Yeah,
catch it. Most of the time, it will not. In the
yeah.
forest, squirrel has pretty good odds of climbing a tree, and the
Mm.
dachshund has very poor chances of climbing a tree.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the thing. Like, I saw this post on Cura the other day, and it was like, what's the difference between like uh like black bear and a grizzly bear? Like if you're chased by it, like, and you climb into a tree, and like the bear climbs the tree to catch you, it's like it's a black bear. If you climb into a tree and the bear knocks down the tree and then eats you, it's a grizzly bear. Because
Yeah.
those animals are like fierce predators,
Yeah.
and they're really smart. They, like a grizzly found out, like, oh, I don't have to climb this tree. I can just knock it down
Yeah.
to catch
And
whatever
and
found up in
and we have a brown bears in Finland,
it.
and apparently they have a very very good sense of smell. Like they can basically smell you for like a couple of kilometers away if the wind direction is right.
Mm-hmm.
So you will not catch a bear by surprise most of the time. Like
Mm-hmm.
they know you're there.
Just like
So
how hungry are they?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
Yeah,
most of the
but
time they don't need the grief, so they will actually avoid people most of the time. But
mhm.
I guess there are some exceptions.
Yeah, I saw this great like CCTV camera in Canada where like some like brown bear literally opened up the gate to the back garden, like got the trash can like on wheels, right, and just walked out with it. Like, instead of like opening it up and like eating out of it, and just like took it and just like took off down the street. And like if you would not catch this on camera, no one would believe you that would happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
There was a great video a couple of years ago making the rounds on Facebook. It is a Finnish guy, and clearly he is like in a cabin in the woods, and he's filming with his like cell phone camera, and he's speaking in Finnish, and he's like, "Oh God damn it, I can't believe this fucking bear digging through my trash," like, "Ay ay ay," and he goes outside from the house, and he's like swearing up a storm at the bear, like screaming at the bear. But the thing is, like, his dog is outside, so he's going outside to get the dog. He grabs the dog, puts the dog inside, and then basically like walks after the bear, screaming at it. And the bear is like, fine, like, look, this trash is not worth this abuse that I'm getting from this guy. And the bear just decides to fuck off. But it's so funny. This guy is like swearing like a fucking pirate at the bear digging through his trash.
you have to clean it up, no?
Yeah, it's yeah, but it's so funny. Like he goes outside to get the dog first, puts the dog inside, and then goes to like confront the bear. You know,
Pretty
so
big
funny.
balls though. Like,
Yeah,
because those animals can. I mean, a teddy bear is different than a bear. Like a bear is pretty. First of all, they're fucking huge. Like, if someone never saw like a bear in real life, you'd be like, oh
yeah,
yeah, they're kind of cute and fluffy. Like, if you see them in real life, you're like, oh, that is a monster. Like,
yeah,
they're really big, but they just need
yeah.
to hit you once and they knock you out.
You're done. Yeah,
If they're in a bad mood, yeah, it's over.
yeah. I mean, Like at least the thing they tell us in Finland, who to people who move in the nature, is like basically the only time a bear is gonna attack you is that if you somehow find yourself between the cubs and the mama bear,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
you're
yeah.
fucked. Like, but if they don't have the cubs, the bear will avoid you, and you won't even know the bear is that the bear will know you're there and avoid you, and you will never know. But
Yeah,
sometimes you may surprise a mama bear with the cubs, and that's when they get aggressive.
yeah, because they need to protect their gene pool. You know,
Yeah,
that's literally how nature works. It's
yeah,
just
yeah,
passing on
exactly.
the genes to the next generation. That's why like humans like give birth and stay alive to feed them, and we grow to an old age and then we die. Most animals don't have that. Like they are alive, they reproduce, they give birth, and they die pretty soon after their cubs or kids or whatever are stable to care for themselves. That's usually when animals mostly die because their purpose has been
Yeah.
served, and it's like that's done. And humans are just weak ass motherfuckers. Like I mean, like a baby giraffe gets born, yeah, it can walk in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like we humans, we suck. Like a year and a half until you start to learn how to walk. Like it's good that we're superior and have like cities and defend us from like attacks from outside. But like if we would live like in nature, we would be fucked. Like
Yeah.
as a baby, some cougar comes around, picks you up, you're done. Like it's like yeah, we're the superior race, and then now we're definitely like
Yeah, exactly.
this. Yeah, animals are pretty cool. So, what is your favorite animal? Like, if you could reincarnate into another species, what would it be?
Oh, wow. I don't know. I guess I don't do enough drugs because I've never thought about that. And now I'm, of course, overthinking it. Okay. Okay, probably a seal. Seals are pretty cool.
Definitely.
A lot of swimming, eating fish, lying on the beach,
Yeah,
pretty
chilling in the
chill.
sun. Yeah.
Yeah. Not a lot of predators who eat seals, I don't think.
Oh yeah, polar bears. Just stay away from
Polar
them.
bears, yeah. Yeah, just stay away from the ice. Yeah.
Just be a seal like in the Netherlands.
Yeah, I think being a seal would be pretty chill.
Yeah, and they also look like in Dutch like a seal is called like a sea dog,
Ah, okay,
literally
yeah,
translated. And they kind of look like a dog. Like if you look at those
yeah.
like shiny little eyes,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're pretty friendly as well. Yeah,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. That's part of their problem. That's why many of them are endangered. They're too cuddly and chill.
yeah, especially the young ones when they have like the fur going on, and like
Yeah.
those motherfuckers fucking club them to death. Like, come on, just shoot them through the head, you motherfucker. Like, you never need to
Yeah.
club them to death. That's just some barbaric fucking bullshit.
Yeah, that shit is pretty unbelievable.
Like,
So what do you do for fun? Well, we like to hit baby seals over the head with baseball bat.
yeah,
Really? Little cuddly defenseless animals? Ay ay ay.
yeah. But I do understand why like Inuit people hunt for seals because they have
Sorry?
like when the Inuit people like in the northern regions, like the
Mm-hmm.
Eskimos, they hunt for seals because it's a lot of calories and they can profit from it for almost like six
Yeah.
months. of one suit.
Yeah,
They use
absolutely. Yeah.
everything, you know. It's like that's a different kind of story, but like to make a nice fur coat, oh go fuck yourself. Like,
Yeah, or for fun. Like there's still like hunting that is for entertainment.
yeah, like trophy
And
hunting. Yeah.
yeah, and
Oh
that
yeah,
shit
let's
is
let's
just
let's kill this giraffe with a high velocity rifle from like 800 meters away. It's like yeah, that's hunting. No, it's not. You're an asshole. That's what's going on. Yeah.
yeah. Like I get it. Like hunting serves a purpose. In some places, you know, you have to take care of the population of certain animals because you know, in Finland, a lot of people die because you know of moose. You know,
Oh
because
yeah,
they run in front of a car, you know, and a number of people get killed every year because of that.
well, they're fucking huge. Like, I never
Yes.
noticed that until I actually saw one in real life, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, and you hit one of those with a car, and you basically what happens is that you sweep the legs, and then the moose carcass falls on top of your head, right?
Yeah,
And it just crushes you. Like so you know, so we have a number of people who go and they hunt moose to keep the numbers manageable, so not so many people crash their cars into those things. So I understand, you know, hunting serves a purpose, and especially if you're hunting for food, fair enough. If you're gonna eat it, no problem. But you know, this hunting for entertainment is kind of like, oh yeah, really?
yeah, it's
Have you
not good.
tried anything else? Yeah.
I'm like, if you want to hunt it with like a dagger. No, put about fight. See what goes on.
Go ahead and fucking strangle a bear. Let's see who's got the balls. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or like strangle a giraffe, you know?
like fucking jujitsu, motherfucker.
Like if a giraffe fights, like it uses his neck as a fucking hammer, right? It uses its hand and it just like
Yeah,
swings it like
yeah.
bam. As if that would hit you, you would break your skull and die instantly. It's like there's no fucking chance of survival.
Yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes you see those clips of like a giraffe like hitting a lion, and the lion goes like, "Oh, I'm not that hungry, actually."
Yeah. I can't wait a week.
Yeah,
I
like
will
yeah,
wait
no,
for a
not this
zebra
one.
to come across.
Yeah, this one is not worth it. Okay, moving along.
Yeah, yeah, but that's how nature works, right? It's like how much energy do I need to put and how much do I have to gain? Like if it's too
Yeah, exactly.
complicated,
Yeah,
they just fuck off.
yeah,
Not having this. No. Yeah, nature is pretty cool. Like, it seems like nature is coming back in this time of Corona. You know, like I heard of like dolphins returning to Venice,
yeah. I've heard it too.
swimming
Yeah,
in the
and
city and stuff. I'm like, dude.
it's pretty crazy how quickly nature will take over any place where humans live.
Mhm.
For example, in the Fukushima region in
Yeah,
Japan, that was only a couple of years ago. But if you
yeah,
see footage of people going there now, it's like houses are like completely covered in like vegetation. Like the vegetation has taken over the roads. It has taken over buildings. There's like pack of wolves living in the like the fire department, you know, building, whatever.
yes.
Like that's not actually from Japan. That was from Chernobyl. I saw
Yeah,
like a camera reportage from there a few years ago, and there was literally a pack of wolves living in like the firehouse.
that's amazing.
But
Yeah,
yeah, and it's just a couple of years in Fukushima has been abandoned, and nature is taking over. Like this whole thing with global warming is like the planet will be fine, but we might be fucked.
yeah.
Like if we go away, the
It's
planet will
what
be just dandy.
it's what George Carlin said in his stand-up like years ago. It's like people are trying to save the planet. It's like really? It's like we cannot even take care of each other. If you want to save the planet, the planet
Yeah,
has been for like 4 billion years. We have been for like 100, maybe 200 years. Like you want to save the planet? Like the planet is fine. The people are fucked. It's like,
Yeah.
And he actually foresees this corona thing because he's like, maybe the planet will throw out a virus. It's like humans are susceptible to viruses, you know. So, and we will be gone way before the planet is gone, and the planet's gonna be fine, and it's gonna heal itself. Because that's the thing when people talk about saving the planet, is in the context of human life. You want to save the planet to keep it sustainable for you,
Yes.
but the planet doesn't care, and the
Exactly.
universe doesn't care either because the universe just is. Like there's no purpose for the universe to be there. It's just there.
By the way, that's another song I wrote. How the universe doesn't give a shit.
That sounds like a catchy fucking tune.
Yeah, it's in the chorus. I need to bring back that song. By the way, I made a demo of it a few years ago, and but the quality of the demo is not very good. I should re-record it. Actually, might make it my quarantine project to make a better version of
There you
it.
go. Inspiration given.
Yeah, but yeah, with this COVID-19 situation, I'm thinking big because now you get these reports that because travel is down and people are consuming less and all that stuff, that actually the emissions, CO2 emissions are way down in
Yeah,
these
yeah,
regions, and I'm thinking like maybe this would have an impact with talking about the climate change, that now that people see like, look, it's possible, you can do it, like
yeah,
we just did it. See,
yeah,
see how easy it was. You just needed to be, you just needed a situation where you had to do it, and you can do it. So don't tell me it can't be done. It can be done. We've already established that. Now we
yeah,
just have to, like, maybe this could be, a silver lining with this whole situation, is that we can now look back and say, look, it's doable, we can do this.
yeah, definitely. Because like China has the lowest air pollution since I think the Industrial Revolution happened there. Like,
Which wasn't that long ago, to be
yeah,
fair.
but like
But
it's just like just clears itself out.
yeah,
People can
yeah,
breathe that they would be allowed to go outside, but they're not. Finally have
yeah,
clean air and you cannot go inside outside to breathe it. That's a bit of a big shit. Oh, there's no air pollution. Oh, can I go outside? No, no, I can't go.
no,
No, I have to stay in. It's a shame. It's a shame. But what you
yeah.
gonna do, you know?
Yeah, it's a weird situation now. When you go outside and you see all the people wearing the masks, and it's strange how quickly that became the new normal. Like it
Yeah,
only took a couple of days. First, it was weird as shit, and
yeah,
then a couple of days later, you're like, yeah, that's just the way things are now in the middle of a global pandemic.
yeah. And now you're like everyone that doesn't wear a mask. That's the freak. Like,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
what's
Yeah,
wrong with you? Like,
yeah. If you're properly motivated, it is possible to change things. It's just how do you get to being properly motivated is the problematic part.
yeah, yeah. But that's the thing. It's like people's like, yeah, now it's needed. We can do it. No, it was needed in the first place.
Yeah,
But you had your corporate interest at hand, so you said, yeah, it's not needed.
very short-term corporate interests. Like,
That's always the problem.
yeah.
That's also the problem with governments because they only do things that gonna affect their term. They're not gonna make a long-term plan
And by the way,
because they
that's
might be
why.
out of power.
Yeah, and that's interestingly how places like China, where they don't have to think about the upcoming election, where they can plan 10 years ahead, they can plan 50 years ahead, and they can do things that like Western democracies are not able to do because everybody is kind of pulling in a different direction. There's not a
Mhm.
common. It's very difficult to get everybody on board to go in the same direction. In China, when the party decides that this is what we're going to do, even
That's
if
what's gonna happen.
yeah, even if China only has, let's say, I don't know off the top of my head, but it's like magnitude is maybe 10% of the capital that the West has, Western democracies have, but they're able to make much bigger strategic impact with that 10% because they can pool all the money and put it in renewable energy and AI and basic research like that. And they can say like, look, we're going to rule AI in the next decade. And they can put all the money in that one thing and completely take over. And by the way, that's going to happen. They're
Yeah, definitely.
investing that they are investing like 100 times more money in AI research at the moment than the rest of the world. And also, I think the same thing is happening in renewable energy. I think China is going to own a lot of the patents going forward, and
Yeah,
that's why they're also going to make all the money from the green energy technology and all that stuff.
yeah,
So yeah, but that's like, as much as we in the Western democracies like to shit on China and all the shitty things they do, in some cases it does have its advantages.
that's definitely the case. Yeah, and I mean, they have a boatload of people.
Yeah,
That's what a lot of people forget. Like most of the world population is in China. It's like
yeah.
it's crowded, and they have the science and they have the technology, and they basically have the support of their governments to do new stuff.
Yeah. They're able to plan 10 years ahead, 20 years ahead, 50 years ahead, because they don't have to think about, like, okay, if I now make this sacrifice so I can reap the benefits 10 years from now, am I going to be voted out of office in the next elections when these guys lose their job now so that we can all benefit later? So, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing because the whole world is made in China, pretty much. Like
Yeah.
like my
We're learning that
laptop,
now,
my
huh?
my laptop would not exist without China. My smartphone definitely wouldn't exist without China because it's a Huawei smartphone, so it's Chinese brand.
I'm thinking, if I can find anything within an arm's reach that was not made in China, and this coffee mug is probably the only thing within my arm's reach that was not made. Well, maybe the keys in my pocket were not made in China, but basically anything else here that I can touch was made in China.
This doesn't say where it's made. It's my power bank, by the way.
If it's a power bank, at least all the components inside were made in China. Even if,
Possibly. Yeah, but
like you can assemble electronics anywhere, but all the components are gonna be coming from China,
or at
basically.
least half.
Yeah, it's just the reality of the situation.
Yeah, because it's cheaper labor.
Yeah.
Like from
So,
a perspective of like business, it makes a lot of sense.
and at this point, yes, that was the motivation that drove the industry to taking the manufacturing into China. But now it's not even that. It's not the labor cost. It's the fact that they have the infrastructure and nobody else does. Nobody else
Yeah.
has the people. Like, you
Mm.
need trained professionals to do that shit. China
Yeah.
has those people. They are trained and they're already working in the factories. Now let's say the United States wants to move manufacturing from China to the United States. Well, that means they have to train millions of people to do that work, and
Yeah.
that's not going to happen very fast.
No.
And the price is going to be higher in the end. But even
Yeah.
if they were willing to eat the costs, it's still not going to happen in a year or two. Not going to happen. You don't. They don't have the trained professionals. They don't have the facilities. They don't have any of the infrastructure anymore that's required to do that. So yes, the reason why they moved to China was the price. Why they're staying in China is because now they're,
They have the infrastructure. They have the knowledge.
yes,
They have the tools to do it.
yeah,
So,
and most importantly, they have the people.
definitely.
Yeah, because if China has something, it has people.
Have a lot of people,
Yeah.
and they do that job well because like it's a work ethic. You know, That's what you get when you have a communist regime. Everyone is in there for the greater good of the country.
Sorry. Yeah, from what I hear, because I have a degree in electronics, so I've talked to people who have outsourced electronics manufacturing to China, and this information is now, let's say, at least 5 to 10 years out of date. But back then they said you can move the manufacturing to China, you can do it cheaper there, but you need to take your own quality control people there. You cannot just make an order and let them ship you the stuff, because what you're going to get is absolute shit. Most of it is going to be unusable. So the only way to make it work is that you take your quality control people there, and they need to be present.
Mhm.
Like any minute that they're not keeping the eye on the production line, those people are going to start cutting corners.
Mhm.
And that's the way, at least it used to be back in the day.
Mhm.
Which is one of the reasons why Apple is not able to manufacture the shit, because their people cannot travel to China. And like I said, you apparently you cannot just make the order, send them the specification and say, okay, do this. Like if you don't have your people overseeing the process, they're going to screw it up.
Mhm.
And since they can't make their people travel there anymore, that's why they're having to close down production, because it's a waste of time and energy to let them do it without
Yeah, but
somebody
also with
overseeing
this
it.
whole global shutdown thing, like people are starting to realize that things they held very close to their hearts and found really important are not important at all, right?
Yeah.
Like you had like this coach from, I believe it was Liverpool, that got the question asked is like, what do you think about the coronavirus? And he basically replied as like, this is what I hate. It's like thinking that in a situation like this, the opinion of a football coach matters. Like, I'm not a health professional. You shouldn't ask me. You should ask the experts and the people that know what they're talking about. It's like,
Yeah.
my opinion is not worth more than yours in this specific situation.
Yeah.
And he also said, like, yeah, football is not important right now. Like, no, it's not.
Wow.
It's a game.
Yeah.
But in a global pandemic, it's not important. It doesn't
Wow,
matter
that's
that
a
they
fantastic
cannot play the
answer.
league, right? It's like that's exactly what it is. Like,
And there's a lot of money on the line, by the way.
yeah, definitely. But a lot of those people also see, say, well, yeah, but then we'll just delay it to like next year or something.
Mm. And by the way, the players and the coaches are millionaires. Like,
Yeah, it's not like they're gonna suffer much.
yeah, they
They
can
have a
afford
reserve.
to.
Yeah,
Yeah, they are able to take 1 year off and rest and whatever. Watch Netflix, catch up on the latest things on Netflix for a while, and then pick it up again next year.
yeah,
But there's a lot of course, ripple effects when you take away that. There's a lot of people then who are not millionaires also affiliated with the stuff.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's the way it is. It's like I have a lot of friends working like in like doing arts or music or stuff like that. That's on a hold right now, so they don't have money coming.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people who are bartenders,
Mm.
teachers, like English teachers or whatever, and
Yeah,
it,
my
they
girlfriend
have.
is one. Yeah, she basically moved everything online within a week.
Yeah,
Like pretty resourceful, I have to say. Crisis makes people very resourceful.
yeah, that's
They
true.
get creative. So
Well, yes, but there's always some people who uh don't have the resources.
yeah, definitely.
If it goes like, okay, you need to buy a new laptop and sign up for this, whatever video streaming service and whatever, you like, if you don't have the cash to do that, like, you're kind of stuck.
Yeah, and it's not like somebody's just gonna give you the money to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to excuse myself for a second.
Well, I think we've been going on for about 2.5 hours. I don't think.
Seriously?
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody watching anymore.
Fair enough. Well, in that case, thank you for attending.
All right, my pleasure. I
And,
don't know if who's the right person to watch this us rambling on, but if somebody enjoys it, that's nice.
give the video a thumbs up.
All
Subscribe.
right.
No thumbs down on this bullshit, people. We talked about this before.
I'm talking to you three guys. Jesus fucking Christ. The man has no arms.
Yeah, be nice. So everybody take care, stay safe, stay the fuck at home if you can. And let's hope this thing will find a resolution soon. We'll be fine. So Janne, thanks.
All right, brother.
Peace.